So what's our focus today?
Okay, so I'm bringing two new cuts for my book. Hurry, It's Lovely Up Here at the suggestion of you, Kevin.
Uh,
Um, I know. And then Barbara 2.0. So
Great.
those are the songs that we're going to work on today.
Love
are
it.
these both contenders for your audition book?
Yes. And what a gift package of showers, sun, and love. You'll be met above everywhere with fondled and sniffed by millions who drift by. Life here is rosy when you're a posy. Hurry, it's lovely
And what a lovely cut that is.
there. You.
That is really nice. What feels good to you in this piece right now?
I like the higher notes. I think that they sound good. I did notice watching the video I need a little more space.
Hmm.
But I like that it shows a range because there's jumps from lower notes to top notes.
Great. Yes. And it's interesting during that piece, and this is the first thing you've sung for us today, but it took you a few measures to really find your groove with this piece, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So let's do this piece again, but this time I want you to focus on more of the connectivity or the musicality of the phrasings. Because what
Okay.
we heard that time, although lovely, I mean, you have a great tone, it's nice and forward, everything seemed a bit disconnected, but
Okay.
follow the bouncing ball kind of thing.
Yeah.
You're hitting each word and we hear you clearly, but I think the lack of connectivity of the notes is what's missing.
Okay.
What's your thought on that?
Yes. Are you talking about connecting to the lyrics, or are you talking about a more lyrical sound?
Right now, this run through, because we like to focus on one thing at a time,
Mm-hmm.
let's focus on the connectivity of the notes of
Okay.
those melodic lines. Mm-hmm.
Package of showers, sun, and love. You'll be met above everywhere with fondled and sniffed by millions who drift by. Life here is rosy when you're a posy. Hurry, it's lovely.
Nice. What
Talk
felt
about
different there? What felt different though?
It definitely felt more legato, more connected. There are still a few moments where I was like, that's not right. But at least this time I was aware of them, so I know what to fix
Right.
in the next go round.
Very good. And that's not to say that everything has to be legato, that you can't use sections that are more dialogue driven as opposed to the smooth and connected sounds. But I wanted you to experience that so you could feel a balance between the two. Natalie, what are your thoughts here?
Yeah, I love this piece on you. I think one of the things that I like the most about it, and I like the most about what you're doing with your book now, is that this piece feels very much like you, right? It's
Yeah.
a happy, sunny piece that shows you off in a way that sometimes is hard to find in this kind of music because people sort of hide behind the voice and they don't bring themselves or their own personality into it. And we're getting a lot of that from you in this, which I love. And that's what we want to see more of you all the time. We always want to know who you are, right? If this is an audition piece that you're bringing in as just a first cut, then it's kind of the first time we've met you. So we want to know that about you. Yeah, I think that you're already connecting more of the legato lines and the lyricism of the piece So this next time through, I'd love for you to think more about who you're talking to and what you're trying to say to them. Can you really quickly just paraphrase what the subtext is, what's going on underneath the actual words that you're saying in this piece?
I think she is because she's talking to the flowers
Mhm.
in front of this fellow who I believe is her psychiatrist. Um,
Mhm.
but she's talking to the flowers and trying to get them to come up because it is beautiful out here in the world. And I think that there's a little inner sense of her telling that to herself as well, of being like, listen, let's come out here. It's okay. It's safe. It's going to be okay.
Yeah. And is she a little bit in love with the psychiatrist?
Yes.
So there's also that element of what this piece does really well is that you're talking to the other out there that are the
Mhm,
flowers, right? And you have the added benefit of having this other person who you're also singing to, right?
mhm,
Who's uh, disconnected from the actual moment that you're having in terms of where they're placed. So you have that ability to have sort of a dual conversation.
mhm,
So I'd love to see you this time be more um, aware of who you're talking to. And in that awareness of who you're talking to, really connect with the thoughts that you're saying, which I think will add to making those lines longer because now you're having real thoughts rather than jumping from word to word.
mhm.
So let's try.
Okay. And what a gift package of shower, sun, and love. You'll be met above everywhere with fondled and sniffed by millions who drift by. Life here is rosy if you're a posy. Hurry, it's lovely.
Tell us how that felt, or how it felt differently.
Um, I definitely connected a little more to the lyrics and thinking of myself as the flower. That's kind of what I put into my brain is that, when you like a guy and he's standing right there and you're like, oh my God, is he looking? Is he looking? I don't know. So I just made it a point of like, just singing to myself and being like, it's okay to put yourself out there. He's still gonna be there no matter what. So it's okay.
Yeah, I'd love you to do it one more time. And I want you to throw one or two lines back to him over your shoulder. Not like literally looking back at him, but where are you? But I think for me, the line that came up this time was "When you're a posy" was the
Mhm.
one that I kind of, and it just to give you a secondary place to have your focus.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So notice when you're talking to yourself, aka the flowers, and when are you really talking to him?
Okay.
Even if it's under the guise of like talking to the flowers.
And what a gift package of shower, sun, and love. You'll be met above everywhere with fondled and sniffed by millions who drift by. Life here is rosy when you're a posy. Hurry, it's lovely.
Yes. I
I love
can't wait for you to go back to the tape and listen and watch because there was such nuance and coloring of the phrases because you were visualizing him and connecting with him at the same time. So I think this is a good contender for the book. What
Oh
are
yeah.
what are your thoughts?
Yeah, she's probably in.
She's probably in.
I don't have anything like her in my book. I don't have anything like this cut in my book. I have the standard Somebody Somewhere, which is beautiful, but it doesn't
Yes.
get a chance to showcase a little personality. So I like that
Right.
aspect of it.
Well, and plus, Somebody Somewhere is a ballad, and we all love singing ballads. And
Mm-hmm.
more often than not, our books fill up with those faster.
Correct.
So I love the fact that you've got this nice and easy up tempo to show that personality and the brightness of your personality. So I think it's a really, really good match. What specifically about Barbara 2.0
She
do you
just
feel needs work?
she has a jump to one of my higher notes that's like right on the edge of belty head voice.
Yep.
So sometimes my heart and my throat say, "No, ma'am, we're not doing this today."
Okay, great. So this will be more of a technical thing that we're going to look at
Yeah.
first.
Take it and trash it, burn it or smash it. We have to adapt to survive. We can be fighters with fire inside us. We're more than detritus. We're finally alive. The Barbara you married, she is dead and buried 6 feet below. Wow, 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 and now.
Something that I notice right away while I'm watching you, and I think I would probably hear this as well, but I see you physically muscling into these notes. It
Oh yeah.
starts out in such a comfortable, round, and warm range for you,
Mm-hmm.
but it does have that huge jump repeatedly, right?
Yeah, it's rude.
It is. And it's funny. It's funny that the words that are up there are words like back, because that's exactly where the sound is going. It's going to the back. It's kind of hitting the back of the tongue on you.
Yeah.
All right. So the combination of the placement of that word and that note and the act of muscling into it, those are the two things that I see as the major issues here.
I've been called a vocal bully, so I believe it.
A vocal bully.
Yes.
That's interesting. I've heard about saggy singing, but I've not heard about vocal bullies.
No, if my voice is not going to do it, I will make it. So,
Yes,
called
I think that's our approach. A lot of people's approach.
Yes.
Instead of making you sing this entire thing again, let's kind of cue this up without the track
okay.
to the first jump that you're making. Can you sing that line?
We can be fighters with fire inside us. We're more than detritus. We're finally alive.
Okay, so that one's a little better because you're slowly stepping into it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So think about where you're starting that note. Where do you physically describe the physicality of your body when you're starting that phrase?
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel like you're sitting? Do you feel like you're lifted? Are you separating the rib cage from the hips? What's going on?
I think that I am trying really hard to separate the ribs to give that space.
Yes.
But I think that I also, because the piano is like dun 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 dun, so I think I'm also tensing with it because I'm like, here we go, here it comes. So I think that my anticipation of the note is affecting how I am hunkering down to be like, we are gonna sing this.
That's right. That comes back to your bullying point. You're bullying yourself into singing that note.
Yes.
Okay, so let's do the thing. Let's do the one thing.
Okay.
This time, I want you to sing that phrase. But before you attempt it, I want you to take a deep breath, and I want you to think about making that space, or creating rather that space between the hips and the rib cage. And I want you to kind of just lean into it just gently.
Fire inside us, we're more than detritus. We're finally alive.
Okay. This is another point that you're going to want to watch. Go back to the tape and watch as as you approach those higher notes, you are physically backing away from it. You are literally taking a step backwards. So that physicality is pulling the sound back and down, right?
Okay.
Lean into it. Lean. And what I mean by that is think about kind of being on the balls of the feet and lean forward into it just to kind of help your body.
We can be fighters with fire inside us. We're more than detritus. We're finally alive.
Okay. You feel that difference?
Yes.
Hello.
That felt like singing and not just screaming.
Right. Exactly. Before it was falling backwards to the back of the tongue and it was coming from right here. But when you were on the balls of the feet kind of leaning into it, it was you were being active in that moment. So that was helping that sound move forward rather than making it move forward.
Okay.
I like that.
Me
So
too.
is that something
Yeah.
something you think you can apply to the rest of the notes there?
Yes.
Okay, great. Natalie?
Just quickly before you forget, as we start talking about something else, can you tell us physically how that felt different? What did you do differently?
I definitely was on my toes.
Okay.
So like forcing balance, which of course forced the core to actually engage and do its job. And I did I like mentally had to lean forward to give myself the forward placement. So now my brain, for some reason, is like the entire song. Just picture that you're boxing with those notes.
You went from being a bully to being a boxer. So
There is a trend.
It's all coming around. Okay,
Champion.
but that's great because that's something that you can come back to again and again as a sensation of like, okay, this exercise that we're doing, you know what that feels like as you go to replicate it to do it again. So good. Okay, I just wanted to make sure that we had in your words what you were feeling. Great. Good.
Verbalizing it, I think, is one of the most important things. Otherwise, it tends to happen and we forget about it. So
sometimes verbalizing what happened is one of the hardest things.
For sure.
Oh, absolutely.
Like,
what did I do? Yeah. And then on top of it, you go back and you watch the tape or you listen to yourself and go, oh, that was great, but I have no idea what I did that time or how it was different from the next time I did it. So putting that into practice of verbalizing it sort of immediately afterwards to try to remember while we're in it is a good exercise. So yeah, let's do that again.
Okay.
And do you want to keep going just a little bit?
Sure. Burn it or smash it. We have to adapt to survive. We can be fighters with fire inside us. We're more than detritus. We're finally alive. The Barbara you married. She's dead and buried 6 feet below. Whoa, 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 whoa. And now Barbara's on doormat. She's coming back in a new format. Time to let go. Say hello to Barbara 2.0.
Yes.
I can't wait for you to listen to the first time you sang it and that time you sang it back to back.
Night and day.
How did it feel? What did you do differently or how did it feel differently?
I like really thought about forward placement. I know there were at least 2 where they went back, of course, on the word back. It was back there. But I really tried to make sure I was telling my brain the whole time, forward, forward. So I'm sure that like my face lost some of the acting stuff, but I'd rather work on the vocal first and then bring the facial expressions in. So I was concentrating.
Yes, you were. And it was great. I love the sounds that you are producing now in this piece. Okay, so let me ask you this. Do you feel that during our session here today that you accomplished what you set out to do?
Yes, because I wanted to basically test these two cuts.
Hmm.
Number one, make sure that I remembered all the words, which I did. Check. Number two, make sure that vocally my voice could handle them while I'm like a touch nervous, because at auditions you get a little nervous. And number three, just make sure that they're good cuts. I wanted to
Yes.
guys liked them and were like, yes, this does work for you. We don't listen to you sing it and go, Lindsay, you will never play these parts.